So when I was writing other papers, I definitely referenced the academic websites that were given at the beginning of this project. Also, I really learned a lot about formatting and like academic vocabulary, more small components like that I was definitely able to apply in other papers that I was writing for school.
And my observation has been in student confidence. I've seen a real carryover. They're more confident tackling complicated questions. Like, all right, let's dig in here for a minute. And I've even seen more students in our 8th grade this year questioning back when asked a question. I'm thinking of their science and history classes where I've seen it in both. But what if it was told from this perspective? Or, well, you know, that's this. Do we know if that science is that true in other places? They're thinking more critically and more confidently, and I know that's going to serve them well, not only in the capstone experience, but as they move forward.
That's a great point that you have, because that's pretty much what you want to have them counter or ask. But not only we present them, they will take the information, but you have to think and process and bring it back and ask the counter questions. That instigates that then.
Yep, it's a very positive outcome.
One of the things they do in the high school, and of course beyond that, is they have to get increasingly comfortable with really questioning how is knowledge created and how is it communicated well. And you don't really think about that usually, at least until you get to 16, 17, 18 years old. It's more about what's in the textbook that I need to learn to produce for a test. What do I have to, here's some content that's given to me, I stick it in here, bring it up at the right time and the right way later. But it's a much broader question. How do scientists create knowledge? How do historians create knowledge? And how do they communicate what they are finding for other disciplines as well? And that's a pretty sophisticated thing to do. There's a developmental readiness for it. We're pushing the boundary a little bit, which is good. Let's push.
Something we introduce in the early research phases here of the capstone is evaluating sources. This particularly applies to web sources, web resources, looking at agenda, ideology, and funding for sources that are used, because boy, will that tell you an awful lot. And the flood of information coming in, if one does a Google search, 44 million hits, that's great. But evaluating these sources, their agenda, the ideology underpinning that agenda, and the funding source really opens some eyes. And I think you found that a lot with Humane Watch, looking at the financial trail there.
Now, does every student have a coach?
Yes.
Subject matter
Yeah.
coach?
So every student, I would offer myself as research and writing coach, but in addition, every student has at least one mentor. Many have several. Depending on topic, they'll meet with several different people. There might be a content individual, someone who's an expert in an area of content, someone else who is an expert in an area of application. And so, Camille, I think you had a couple interviews with individuals who had expertise in the field. Do you want to describe just your interviewee a bit, who you connected with?
Yeah, so I connected with both Miss Fielder and someone who I knew from outside of school. Barbara Keegan, she is the president of New Gigs Animal Rescue in East Brunswick. So she of course had a very deep understanding of how the Humane Society was, and both ASPCA and the Humane Society. I didn't decide my topic at that point yet, but she had a very deep understanding of where their funding was going. As she is the president, she explained to me how she wasn't getting any funding, how they're not running any local animal shelters. So it was I think that was, the interview alone was a much more impactful experience than any of the research that I looked at throughout this process.
And we even prepared them for those interviews, coming up with draft questions, getting, how to reply. So every piece of this, we've really tried hard to scaffold the skill building along the way.
We practiced writing emails, how to structure an email. Seems just sort of a habit for most of us, but there is a greeting, there's a salutation, there's an introduction, there's a closing, there is thanking this individual you've now asked for some help. There's the follow-up as well. Many of these interviews were conducted in person, many were conducted on the phone, Skype, FaceTime, email. Some individuals who were interviewed were traveling. We had individuals in Africa and the Far East during interview time. They were happy to connect via email or Skype in some cases. So these mentors were very specific to an individual student's topic, and students were connected with people who could help them particularly.
I would say it's the final chapter on 8th grade capstone for this year has yet to be written. As we referenced earlier, there'll be a big self-evaluation process and an evaluation process of the experience before we are finished with this year, and then take those into next year. So for the parents I see in the room who are 7th grade parents, new, different building, keeping the strengths and continuing to evolve, that's been the ethos in all 3 divisions as we continue this, because we see it as a powerful learning experience for our kids, but we want to make sure it just keeps getting better and is calibrated, that we're pushing, but perhaps not pushing so hard that it's failing our students in the end. So we're really going to be thoughtful about that process. Camilla and her peers have their presentations coming up, both to the faculty, and you did fabulously today, Camilla. So thank you for that, Dr. Kraft, and I thank you for your time as well. I hope this was interesting to you. I look forward to continuing the conversation around the evolution of this experience as we go ahead. But I thank you very much for being here today. Okay? Thanks, everybody. If you would like to see this experience again on the video, look for a link from me, and please do share it around. Let people know about it when you see it, because I'd love for everyone to sort of have a window into the life of this program as we go forward. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for coming out this morning. It's a great experience to expose them to and help them live through it. So make it so they've been through it.